This video presents the historical development of behaviorism in education, together with the key thinkers and their respective contributions. Behaviorism emerged in the early 20th century as a scientific movement that sought to make psychology and education more objective and measurable. It developed as a reaction to introspection and the abstract focus of earlier philosophies like idealism and functionalism. Behaviorists argued that education should highlight understanding through observable changes in behavior rather than invisible mental states. Rooted in experimentation, conditioning, and reinforcement, behaviorism reshaped classroom into systematic, stimulus-response environments that emphasized measurable outcomes and control over learning processes. Let's start with Edward L. Thorndike, an American psychologist known for his experimental work on animal learning and educational psychology and brought us connectionism and the loss of learning. His work developed during the rise of scientific psychology, which sought objective and measurable approaches to learning. Thorndike laid the foundation for behaviorist learning principles through his experimental laws of learning. His focus on reinforcement and measurable outcomes shaped educational psychology and instructional design. He proposed that learning occurs through forming associations or connections between stimuli and responses. For him, education should rely on drill, practice, and feedback to strengthen correct responses. He believed teachers should design structured tasks that reward success, enabling mastery through repetition and reinforcement. We have the very famous Ivan Pavlov, a Russian psychologist whose research on conditioned reflexes influenced behavioral learning theory. His findings emerged when psychology was moving toward observable and experimental methods rather than introspection. Pavlov's discovery of classical conditioning established learning as a process of stimulus association rather than internal reflection. His work inspired the first empirical models of behavior modification and habit formation. He demonstrated that reflexive responses could be conditioned through repeated associations between neutral and meaningful stimuli. For him, education should use repetition and association to build habits and conditioned responses. Teachers can shape student behavior and motivation through consistent cues, reinforcement, and emotional conditioning. Next is the father of behaviorism, John B. Watson, an American psychologist regarded as the founder of methodological behaviorism. His ideas developed in reaction to introspective psychology, which lacked scientific rigor and measurability. Watson institutionalized behaviorism, transforming psychology into a science of observable behavior. His environmental determinism influenced education's focus on measurable objectives and behavioral outcomes. He argued that human behavior results entirely from conditioning, claiming he could shape any child into any type of person through environmental control. He sees learning as a habit formation guided by external stimuli. For him, education should be systematic and behavior focused, relying on repetition, control, and reinforcement to shape desired actions. Teachers can then act as behavior engineers, organizing learning conditions to produce predictable results. We have Clark Hall, an American psychologist known for formulating quantitative behaviorist learning theories. His work arose during a period that emphasized formal models and scientific precision in psychological research. Hall expanded behaviorism by integrating motivation and biological drives into learning theory. His systematic approach influenced early models of motivation and performance in education. He proposed that learning occurs when behavior reduces a biological or psychological drive, producing satisfaction that reinforces the response. For him, education should maintain motivation by aligning reinforcement with student needs and goals. Teachers should structure lessons that reward effort and progress, sustaining engagement through incremental success. Bruce Frederick Skinner, or also known as B.F. Skinner, an American psychologist and behavior analyst influential in educational and behavioral sciences. His contributions emerged when education sought efficient, controllable, and measurable methods of instruction. Skinner revolutionized education practice by applying behavioral principles to instruction and classroom management. His innovations shaped programmed instruction, adaptive learning, and mastery-based systems. He argued that voluntary behaviors are shaped by consequences, reinforcements, and punishments that modify future actions. For him, education should provide immediate feedback, positive reinforcement, and self-paced learning opportunities. He developed teaching machines and program learning systems to individualize instruction and ensure mastery. We also have Albert Bandura, a Canadian-American psychologist best known for his social learning theory. His work developed as a response to strict behaviorism, which could not fully explain learning through observation alone. Bandura extended behaviorism to include imitation, modeling, and social context. His research on self-efficacy and vicarious learning influenced educational psychology, classroom climate, and motivation theory. He proposed that people learn not only through direct reinforcement, but also by observing others and internalizing their behaviors. For him, education should encourage modeling of positive behaviors and self-regulation. Teachers serve as role models, using feedback, observation, and encouragement to shape both competence and confidence. The present continuing influence tells us that behaviorist principles continue to shape instructional design, classroom management, and performance-based learning systems. Reinforcement strategies, reward systems, and mastery learning models trace their roots to behaviorism. In digital learning, adaptive software and gamified feedback systems apply behavioral insights to motivate learners and reinforce desired outcomes. Behaviorism transformed education into a scientific enterprise, emphasizing control, measurement, and the predictability of learning outcomes. From Pavlov's conditioned reflexes to Skinner's operant principles, behaviorists established a powerful framework for understanding how environments shape behavior. The behaviorist tradition reminds us that education must be evidence-based and purposeful, using structure, reinforcement, and clear outcomes to support measurable growth and mastery in every learner. This has been the historical development of behaviorism in education. For more helpful videos in related education courses, you may subscribe to this channel. Thank you in advance.